We set out in 2003 working on a piece of work which is around DNA and fingerprint retention, and it was a national piece of work. And at that time we had a very small grant from the Home Office just to do that one piece of work, we've since then developed, morphed, if you like, into the ACPO Criminal Records Office. How that came about was in 2006 we made a case to the Association of Chief Police Officers that there was a need for some full-time attention around criminal records management and associated DNA and fingerprint management. And this came at a time where we had things like the Bishard inquiry about the tragic murders of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, and we had other national issues around criminal record matters. And we were successful with that application to ACPO, and we were fortunate enough to secure some fairly limited funding from police forces to actually establish a criminal records office. Here we are now 4 years on, having established that office, and we now generate our own income. We're not completely self-sufficient, but we're getting towards that position with more than 80% of our funding now being income generated. And that allows us to reinvest that money into policing initiatives both nationally and internationally in some cases. Yeah, part of our strategic aim here at ACRO is to operate in a way that we're not risk averse. This is something that traditionally could be said perhaps by some of the police service, that there are occasions where we take the safest option, and that's understandable in a law enforcement environment. However, we have not, as I say, managed to get to the position we have and secured the bits of national business on behalf of the service and delivered in the way that we've been able to deliver by being risk averse. And we've actually at times perhaps been a little bit cheeky, a little bit pushy, and we've been fortunate enough to be able to do that. And always with the support of with ACPO behind us and with the Home Office behind us to enable us to undertake what previously we might have thought of as the impossible. So for instance, if you had have said to me 4 years ago, did I think we'd be sitting in this office with a turnover of over £8 million, then clearly I would have answered no. But that's the reality of what we've managed to achieve over the last 7-8 years. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the really difficult concepts for many of the police colleagues that I know to get their heads around is this concept of income generation. And it's something, frankly, that underpins ACRO, and if we didn't generate our own income, then we simply wouldn't be here today. And yet the things that we're asked to undertake by the Home Office, by ACPO, by other stakeholders are important things. They're things that have to be done. They have to be done nationally for the service. And as I say, we just wouldn't be able to achieve those. So I suppose it's about overcoming this culture of, we're a public sector organisation, and therefore there's absolutely no room whatsoever to be able to generate income. That's a challenge, that's an ongoing challenge, and I think, frankly, that could still be a challenge in years to come, although, of course, in the current times of austerity and fiscal pressures that we're under, I think people are starting to think of more innovative ways. We see it in the private sector, we see more and more public sector thought being given to whether it could be operating in the private sector. And I guess, largely that is what we've been doing over the last 3, 4, 5 years that we've been in existence. Sure. I mean, we were obviously delighted to receive the report. I think it represents a lot of hard work from all the staff that undertake the responsibilities, because it had a particular focus around our use of the Police National Computer, something that's at the core of our work, much of our work here at ACRO. So it really is recognition to those things. In terms of the best practice in particular, we had 10 areas, I believe, of best practice that were identified. And just to pick up on what the key themes were really for me. I think, firstly, we talked about the actual standards that are imposed by people actually operating the system. So, for instance, one of the things that we were complimented on was our threshold for getting people through the assessment to actually use the system in the first place. And then after that, not just accepting that they've passed, like you might do in a driving test, for instance, but then having an ongoing monitoring process to make sure that operators feel that they've got the necessary support to use the system, and that they have the necessary input around data protection and professional standards, because obviously it is a police system. So that was an important area. I think also the issue about quality is really important to us, and again, right at the heart of everything we do at ACRO. That's really reflected in many of the processes that we operate here, many of the certificates that we produce, and different services that we offer to government and non-government organisations. We like to pride ourselves in offering a good end-to-end service on those products, and part of that is about quality. It's right at the heart of it, really. So we quality control our work in every area of business to a high level, in many cases to 100%. So an individual that's done a piece of work has their work checked by others. Again, this was something that was recognised as best practice by the HMRC to make sure we're driving up standards of information that's held, particularly where it's held on a national system that will be accessed by other police colleagues.